whew, of course, I'm hanging out with the Kingpins, and of course, I'll be late, right? Because that's kind of what they do. What's going on, everybody? Happy New Comic Book Day Eve, or as I like to call it, Tuesday, or Tuesday, as I like to call it, New Comic Book Day Eve. Looks like yours truly was right about one book. It looks like the clear-cut winner right now. It's looking like it's going to be an Iron Man book this week. But what's going on, man? Everybody in the house. Special guest again tonight. So hopefully you guys are pumped. Hopefully you guys had fun on Sunday with my guest, because Mr. Empire is back to join us tonight. So let's get it going. Let's get it rolling. I got two amigos with me, so let's go. Interesting show tonight. We're going to be talking Fallen comic books. And this one is really fun because we get to look at the FOMO. We get to look at all the craziness that was when these comics were hot. And then we get to decide, hey, man, are we still buying them? Or are we just not looking at them? So let's bring in the first guest. Let's bring in Mr. Face, my amigo. What's going on, Face?
What's going on? How's it going tonight?
Dude, freezing rain. It's freezing. I had the day off, though, because it was family day yesterday. So I took family day today. But other than that,
Life Day or some shit.
Yeah, here in Canada, it's like it's family day. So yeah, I don't know. I'll take it, man. It's another time and a half and all that. So I'll take it. But how are things in your area, sir?
I'm still recovering from last night. I found out you guys drank milk out of bags, and that really fucked me up. So
yeah, that's weird. I don't know what that is, but yeah,
that's craziness.
Well, speaking of craziness, let's bring in another comic crazed fan into the house. You know him from Sunday's show. He is twice in 1 week. This is a little crazy now. It is Mr. Empire. What's happening, man?
Yo, what up?
Not much, man. Hey, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, it's fitting that you're wearing a shirt that says Major Key, because we're going to be talking about some keys. Some of them at the time were major when they, were popping off. But yeah, it's always fun. I always say it's always fun to go back and look at where certain books were to now, right? Because you always want to buy on the dip. You always want to buy when it's cheap. So it's always interesting to me to go back and see, like, hey, remember when we went crazy about this book and now it's just like a nothing book? Or, I mean, it still might have a little bit of heat, but it's not like that crazy. So I'm interested. Also, everybody who says that Newbie doesn't like DC, you are in for a treat. Okay, you are in for a treat.
Because Newbie put books on the failing spec list from DC. That doesn't really say you like DC.
That might be one. So there's 10 books we're going to be talking about today. There might be one DC book. And I'm actually going to be honest with you guys. There is one, and it's the first one. So hopefully all the DC people come in right now. Because if not, they're going to be like, man, where's this DC book he's talking about? So. But thank you guys for hopping on. Let's go to the chat real quick before we get the show going. Gold medal going to Newbie. Silver medal going to Newbie. Bronze medal going to Newbie. Copper medal going to Newbie. You got the hat trick. Just kidding, man. Michael Barker, what's going on, man? How you doing, dude? Gold medal. I called rigged on these medals, of course, man. Wesley, what's going on, man? One half of the Future Spec Show. What's happening, dude? Tim, my man, bronze. That means 2 Canadians taking home medals today, so that's pretty good. Mr. Bleeker St Comics is in the house. What's going on, dude? Miguel is in the house. Uncanny Swag is in the house. Mr. Heavyweight Champion of the World on the Tony Sanders Show. Mr. Dan De La Torre is in the house. Hernani, I believe that's how you pronounce it. I apologize if not. You soggy old bimbo. Oh no, not Fallen Keys. What up? Rocksteady, what's going on, man? Dude, I can't wait to meet Rocksteady. He's in Edmonton, so that's like out west. He's coming to the Toronto show, Toronto Comic-Con, so can't wait, man. This guy knows his shit. Brick Hunter's in the house. What's going on, man? RP. North 49 Face, like we said yesterday, we hook the bags up to beer tap. One pours Molson and the other 2%.
Oh no.
For those of you that don't know what Molson is, it is a beer, just in case. I don't know. Brick Hunter, like I said, Moonlit. What is going
Hey,
on? I
people
think
are
that's the first
questioning
time I
that
got
What
it
up?
properly. I got it right. Moonlit. But what's going on, Michelle? Less than a month away. Yes. Less than a month away from Toronto Comic Con. So I'm pretty pumped. Sam's in the house. What's going on? All right. You guys know the deal. Once you guys come in the chat, I'll give you a little shout out as I always do. And let's start the show, guys. First up, I do got to ask you guys a question. Did you guys see the Gambit trailer?
What?
Yeah, did you guys see the Gambit trailer?
He's full of it, right?
Yeah, I'm just playing. I just wanted to get somebody to be like, "What?" But
I got a question before we all start.
What's up?
Do you drink your milk out of a bag?
That's a valid question.
Okay.
No.
There you go. Thank you.
Oh, he's one of them bougie Canadians. Frankfurt card.
Yeah, because all your friends drink it out of bags.
Yeah,
Just
no,
so
I
you
don't
know.
know what the hell that was. I'm
It's
not all
questionable.
Canadians are like that. Okay, not all Canadians live in igloos. We all don't wear plaid. We all don't play hockey. Okay, that's just what it is. So
We were kind of thrown off yesterday, but yeah, go ahead.
Ruiz and you don't trust those guys. Those guys are crazy. Southpaws in the house. What's going on, man? Somebody tell Newbie it's not April 1st.
He wants it to be April 1st.
Oh man.
Damn, this cold.
Fuck. I want it to be fucking June 1st, man. I want to be
Right?
in St. Louis shorts. That's what I want. If I'm being honest, that's what I want. So, all right, let's get the show going.
Let's do it.
Bleeker, we drink milk out of glasses. Yeah, you damn right. All right, well, let's get into it. So again, the show is Fallen Key. So we are talking about some books that have fallen, from grace, fallen in price. Where they were before might not necessarily be where they are now. I try to get as most accurate to about a year and a half from now where the prices were to where they are now, obviously. So we're going to ask ourselves, hey, did you fall for the FOMO? Did you buy? Did you just do nothing? Did you wait? Did you think, hey, maybe I'm going to get this book when it drops? Because every book on the planet drops, and there's no way no book doesn't drop, because that's usually what I do. And a lot of these keys on this list have fallen. So we're going to take a look at them, and we're going to talk about them. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Nevis Prime is in the house. What's going on, Justin? How you doing, man? Just checked you guys over at Lords of the Long Box. He was holding it down with JB and I forget the special guest. Tebow wasn't there, but he was holding it down. Just Cruises in the house. What's going on, man? All right, let's get it going. First book on the list. Face, I know you have this book, but we got to talk about it. It is Hella Risen number 3. First appearance of Punchline, 3 prints available, right? Some people got screwed buying the wrong print, but hey, it is what it is. 2021 CGC 9.8 was selling at a maximum of around $600 Canadian, currently slashed to half price. Raw copies, $40 to $55 Canadian, for a price drop of 40 to 50%. What do you guys think about this, man? Because people were going crazy about 2 characters about a year ago. It was Null and Punchline, and how crazy DC people got and said, we need to get Punchline in shows, we need to get Punchline in movies, and this thing has taken a tumble. I don't know. I'm waiting a little bit longer to buy a 9.8 because I do feel like I'll be able to get a 9.8 for like $200 Canadian.
Oh man, well, I had 2 copies raw, straight up 9.8 candidates, and I got rid of them. And I regret it. I got rid of them. I regret it. I would jump. I would. If you have them, I would hold on to it.
You would, eh?
Yeah, I would. I would hold on to it. I mean, I think I personally like Punchline. I like Punchline.
I've always said, and Face, when Face gets going, he'll be like, yeah, Newbie says that. I think that she is basically the perfect person to take over in the future for Harley. She is it's an easy costume to do. So like markability for the character is there. You kind of need a female that's kind of like crazy and psycho. So I think it fits the mold.
And it's like
because you don't have,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't have like Poison Ivy. Who's the other one? Poison Ivy. Catwoman, I guess, there, but like you don't have Poison Ivy, you know, who's kind of like that crazy psycho like Harley. I think you just kind of need a psycho chick. So I think that she kind of fits the mold. So I don't know. Face, what are your thoughts, man?
Well, I mean, one of the things that does hurt this character, and somebody mentioned it in chat just a minute ago, is Tynion leaving DC. That does kind of hurt the character a bit. But that being said, you know, obviously there's other, you know, writers out there that are eventually going to use her. She's even right now, she's, you know, too popular of a character not to use at some point in the future. And we still haven't gotten the Harley versus Punchline story really. Like they give us a couple glimpses of it in the Joker War, but they haven't really given us that story or anything. And I know that you say that Punchline is probably a good replacement for Harley in the future, but I think that she's actually going to be built up more as like a nemesis for Harley in the future. Because it just kind of makes sense. I mean, she would naturally fit that position, and it'd be interesting to see them going at it. So, you know, I think Punchline definitely has a future, and you know,
because that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, like Harley going to be here for a while. She's going to need someone like who's her rival right now. That's the perfect one.
Exactly.
I think people just jumped too fast on this character, and they just wanted the character to pop off and be like, you know, an A-lister right away. And I think, you know, like if you go back a year ago, I mean, people couldn't get off Null and Punchline. Those were the two common denominators. Everybody talked about them. Oh, you know how many times I heard, oh, Punchline's going to show up in this movie. Punchline's going to probably be in this show. Punchline's going to be, I'm like, holy fuck, man, settle the fuck down. But hey, it is what it is. Listen, I got one more opinion that I'm going to get. One more person's opinion. Is Mr. Hyper. What's going on?
There he is.
I'm not even, you can't even see me.
What's happening, man? Thanks for joining us.
Yo, listen, I was chilling, you know, watching the show, and I had to come on to clarify something. We don't drink out of the bag. We pour it from the bag into a glass. What are we, like barbarians? It's like,
I know. The mental image is going to be you guys drinking it straight from the bag.
I don't know why that was a thing last night, but Jesus.
Yeah, why was it a thing?
Because apparently you guys were fascinated that milk comes in bags. So we had it went on like almost like a 10-minute tangent.
I don't even know why it even came up, to be honest.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh yeah, Hyper's milk that he bought while he was on the Grail tour.
Yeah,
and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Hype, what are your thoughts on this book, Punchline? You know, obviously this book has fallen from grace. Is it a book that you would still probably go and pick up, especially now? You know, I always look at prices if a book has gone to a certain price, nothing is stopping it from getting back to that price. I think it just proves that, hey, you know what, I can get to that price. So what are your thoughts on Punchline? Is it a character that, you know, you might pick up on down the future, or what are your thoughts?
So well, the thing is, I already have this and the later prints because I was actually pulling Hell Arisen on my pull list. And funny enough, I actually saw this book sitting on a wall, you know, when I went over the weekend when I visited Comic Dude Marvel. And that book, if I'm not wrong, I think it was priced at 65 Canadian, which was a lot lower than what it was before. I mean, I remember this being like, you know, I know you have like the graded values, but I remember raw it was like over like 100, 150 sometimes. Yeah. So it's definitely has come down, but I was listening to what Face was saying, and I do feel that, you know, Harley Quinn's been getting a bit stale in a sense that, like, you know, it almost feels like she's getting a bit played out. So I do feel like you need people like Punchline to kind of be inserted into her universe. Yeah. So she has more people to kind of play with. So even though, you know, this character is kind of almost like in the background right now, I do feel this book does have an upside. So if I didn't have a copy of Hell Arisen, I actually probably would have copped that one for $65 because I do feel that this book will have its day.
I think this book is going to drop to about 200, 220 Canadian and a 9.8, and that's probably when I'll grab it.
Okay, so you're only looking for graded copies.
I don't know. The wait time, first of all, is like a year basically now, right? I mean, I get it. People are like, no, noob, 8 months, 10 months. It's basically a fucking year. If I give it away in winter when I'm wearing pants and socks, and I get it back when I'm wearing pants and socks, that's a fucking year. Okay, that's just how I look at it. That's how I view it, and that's what it is. I don't want to wait a year. I'd rather just get it graded. I mean, if you're buying it, like you said, $60 to possibly get a 9.6, 9.8. I'd rather just have the 9.8, for 1/3 of the price and call it a day. Because then that way you don't have to worry about anything, right? You don't have to worry about, is it going to get the 9.8 price? I just got the 9.8. It is what it is, and if it does pop, you're going to get your money back regardless, right? So,
yeah, it makes sense.
Marvel, what's happening, man? All right, let's get on to some Marvel stuff, all right? Because this is the only DC book on this list, and we got 9 more books to talk about. All right, book number 2 on the list, The Fallen Keys.
Let me see.
We've got Spider-Man Unlimited. Yes, first appearance of Shriek, Carnage's girlfriend, showed up in Venom 2, which was terrible. 2021 CGC prices, 450 to 500 Canadian for a 9.8. Currently selling, yes, $98. If you go and check eBay right now, somebody bought one for $98 in an auction on eBay.
Raw?
No, 9.8.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Okay.
9.8.
But
But regardless, it doesn't matter if they got it at 9.8 because the highest price on there is $120 Canadian anyway. Completely dropped. A price drop of $300 to $400 Canadian. This book raw was anywhere between $5 and $10 forever. News kind of broke that she was obviously going to be in the movie. Then it then it got up to like $20 to $30. I remember Keys was trying to get like, I don't know, 2 or 3 of them from this guy locally. I think he got maybe 1, but this thing has fallen off. I mean, the character was garbage. The movie was garbage. This is one that I wouldn't pick up regardless. I think down the line, this book is just going to be everywhere again, and people are just going to want to get rid of it. Amp, what do you think, man?
Yeah, like I don't have this one, and it was one that I was looking to put in my Grail, not my Grail, in my PC, because I used to have this back in the day. But once I saw it taken off, I was not going to touch it because I already knew it's a Sony movie. It's going to drop. I don't bank on anything Sony. I'm sorry. So I'm still waiting for it to. It's still going to drop more. I 100% believe it, and I want it just for the PC. But that's it. I wouldn't think that. I wouldn't invest in this. I think it's gonna go up anytime soon. It's like you said, it's just gonna keep going down. In my opinion, you might be able to get one of these in like $60 in a 9.8 soon, straight up.
Pacino 2 for 2. Hype. What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I mean, I never actually looked at this book as one of those investable books. I always looked at it like Empire said, it was more like a PC book for me because I have this book. I know the only reason I actually have this book is because I was actually trying to fill that Maximum Carnage 12-issue run.
Right.
So when I picked it up, it was like $10. And that's the thing, like and it's a #1 issue of Spider-Man Unlimited. So it's not like this is something that's like low in supplies. Like I kind of like, it's almost like this is like probably, it should be at the same price level as that Todd McFarlane Spider-Man 1, I feel. So
that's big words, but okay.
Well, in terms of like I know that the Spider-Man 1 has a much higher print count, but I'm just saying in terms of the price level, I think it should be kind of at that $10 or $15 at most, maybe. So, yeah, I mean, like I said,
you're saying $10 raw?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, not graded.
I was like, $10 to $50.
No, you're gonna.
Hey man, I've bought
there.
CGC books, like slab books, for like, I think the lowest one was $34, and that was a Justice League of America first Silver Age Red Tornado.
It's like, but at that point, why would you grade something if you're gonna take an L right off the bat? It doesn't make sense.
Also, before Face gives us 2 cents, I want to give a big shout out to Mizuki Kashai. What's happening? Hey,
wow,
hit the thumbs up, sure. Hit the like, let everybody know.
Something maybe he was at a karaoke bar right now.
Shadi, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you.
Are you so you're thinking bots now? All right.
Yeah, I was just gonna say newbies just thanking imaginary characters now. So yeah, listen, like I said, this is a book that I kind of relegated as just as a PC book. I really don't see much of an upside to this, and the ceiling's pretty low on this. So
Yeah.
and
I think she died. I mean, I get it's Sony, but like she died, the character. So
yeah, like a bell fell on her. Whoop-de-doo. So um so yeah, I mean, look, if you look hard enough and if you have LCSs around you, I'm pretty sure you could find this on the cheap. Yeah. Just don't fall for eBay on this one.
Face, what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I mean, this is one I picked up a while back to like same thing as Hyper, fill out that Maximum Carnage run for like $10 out of a box somewhere at one of the LCSs around here. And even then when I bought it, I was like, man, you know, like I kind of felt like that's probably about the appropriate price for it, just given the character and everything like that. It obviously it got some pretty big spikes going into Venom 2, and yeah, it's gonna go back down to where it normally is, I think. So, you know, if you're looking for it to fill that run, I mean, really, that's the only really big reason to get this. It has first appearance streak, but I mean, she's pretty much been killed off in comics and fucking movies already. So,
you know what's funny, and I don't. It's funny to me in a way. I don't mean any harm to anybody, but this book was one of those books that people held on to, even like the night before the movie. They were like, "I'm gonna hold on to this because like this could be something." And there's a few people on my Instagram and social media, and I'm sure we know the same people, but like there are some people out there that held on to this way too long. I don't know what they were expecting with this one, but way too long. And it sucks because to be able to know the perfect time to sell something is huge, because look at that price drop. You're almost talking about $300 to $400. That's huge. That's like another really good book. So sometimes we got to do a better job if you're selling,
Those spikes were pretty high even for this book at its peak. That still seems like it was, some pretty high spikes. Like I think that was probably the maxes that that they sold for. There probably wasn't a whole lot of copies that sold in that range.
Yeah.
Newbie's not going for the newsstand because he wants that Iron Man 30.
I was gonna say nobody gives it love. Nobody gives that Iron Man love. Big shout out to the Comic Forge, 1/3 of the pressable defects. Come on, people. You already know who the pressable defects are, so make sure you guys go tune into them. Good guys, always supporting the channel. I love the Iron Man one. All right, let's get on to the next book. And you know what? And for me, I wouldn't pick this up regardless. I mean, if I saw a 9.8 for like $20, maybe. But I'm not forking out $100 for that, man. No way. All right. This is one of my personal favorites because so many people were super high on this. I think me and Face have talked about this book, and Face is always on the impression like, hey, you know what? This is still a good book to have. I don't know, man, because I think that you could still get it way cheaper. This thing is dropping like crazy. Not the biggest, price drop like the other books, but, first appearance of Taskmaster, showed up in Black Widow movie. It was kind of a 180. It wasn't done, as expected, I guess. Was it a real bust? Who knows? There's possible future because, I mean, the character didn't die. We know that she was saved by, Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. 2021 selling a 9.0 was selling for $375 to $400 Canadian. Currently in a 9.0, you're looking at $250 to $280 for a price drop of almost $160 on your high end. Dude, I used to find these all the time in flea markets, and I picked them up for like $10 here and there. And then when rumors started of this character,
here and there,
yeah, because we have like 4 flea markets right in the area.
You make it sound like these are like X-Men Jim Lee #1s.
Oh no, but I mean like back then, like you used to find these like all the time. Well, at least in my area, anyway. But I remember picking them up for $10, and then the rumors of the character coming. I mean, I didn't get rich, but they did get to like $40-$50 raw. But definitely, I mean, I don't know. Me personally, I don't like this cover. I don't like this book, to be honest with you.
Really?
So, yeah, I'm okay with it dropping. I'm okay with it falling. I'm okay.
I'll wait
with
till
it
it's my turn. I'll wait till it's my turn.
not being in my PC, man. That's just me. Empire, what do you think, man?
Hold on, my nose thing came off. Totally opposite a little bit about. I love this book. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I liked it when I was a kid, and I always wanted it when I was a kid. And I didn't have it, but it was one of the first books I picked up last year when I first got into specking. To be honest, I had like a list of like a few books I wanted, and that was one of them. But once before the movie came out, I let it go, and I kind of wish I didn't, because I think he's gonna come back. Not the same character, the same girl, but you know how they did it was kind of more like of a program, not really the person.
Yeah.
So I think they might bring him back. Maybe that dude that was hanging out with Black Widow at the end, at the chopper, that was her friend or whatever. I forget his name.
But okay, here's just a question for you. If you were lucky enough to have a really high grade and sell it, so say you had a 9.8 and you sold it at the height and you got $400, you could easily go back now, and go and buy the same book if you really wanted it, and still have put money in your pocket, right? So sometimes buying on the dip, that's what happens, right? I've sold so many books where I'm like, and then it just comes back around, and you're like, oh shit, like I really came out even, or I sold it and still put money in my pocket, things like that. So I think this one was a perfect example of that. But you're right, character could come back.
I sold it right before, when it was not the highest, but like you never know when it's gonna be the highest. So I kind of got close, like right after the trailer, and they had like word out or whatever, got rid of it. And I told myself the same thing, like I know it's gonna come down, especially when the character got so much like flack, like nobody liked them, like the character. I'm like, well, it's definitely gonna drop, and I'll be able to pick it up.
All right, Empire, or all right, Hyper. We're all waiting for your rebuttal here. What's going on here?
It's not a rebuttal, but it's just But listen, before like I got back into comics, I was a gamer, and one of the games I used to play was Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
And you always played as Taskmaster?
No, I didn't always play as Taskmaster, but that was a game where actually I got introduced to Taskmaster, because I didn't really know much about the character, and he was a cool character. I find out that he's like one of those dudes that mimics other superheroes' movesets and all that. So, and I do like his whole outfit. It's almost like it's almost like he's like a parody almost. It's not like supposed to be taken seriously, just the way his getup is made. So, and yeah, I mean, look, contrary to what you said, I actually do like the cover, because more, often you find characters' cover appearances, usually they're in the foreground, they're not really in the center, or this one, he's like right dab in the middle. He's like, and there's nothing distracting from that character. So it's almost like a good spotlight. And it is a George Press cover.
It's a blue and white hobgoblin with a bow and arrow.
Yeah, but look, the thing is, it spotlights like the actual character that's featured in the book, right? So it's like a far cry from like Avengers Annual 10.
Oh, geez.
So, and look, I picked this up, a few years before we even heard an announcement that Taskmaster was appearing in Black Widow. So actually, I did get this on the low, and so happy to have that on the PC. And the thing is, I know that he was done a bit dirty in the MCU, with how he was portrayed in the Black Widow movie. But keep in mind, I mean, Taskmaster has been featured in other forms of media. Like, I'm going to go back to the games. If you played the PS4 Spider-Man game, he was featured as a side quest.
Oh, yeah.
And he was actually, I remember he was like the toughest guy to beat in terms of boss battles. And you know how, people always just equate the movies, but even video games have their rise or value. Like you saw that with Miles Morales, right? So, I mean, I could see Taskmaster being brought back, at least in the gaming verse. So even if the movie side, he might not be doing so well, there's other forms of media.
Or she.
Yeah, but I'm always going to look at it as the OG Taskmaster.
You're right.
So I still think there is some upside to this character. And the thing is, I do feel like he does have that cult following as well.
What? So, I've never met anybody that's like crazy over Taskmaster.
That's the thing. That's because they're in the underground. That's why it's called a cult following. You're not going to see like he's not gonna have like the same fan base, but they're there. It's like the thing is, the people that are fans of Taskmaster, like they are fans of Taskmaster, because I have spoken to people.
All right, challenge to the comic community. If you are a Taskmaster fan, I want you to take a picture of your comic book room or wherever you are, and I want you to show me your Taskmaster love. So you should have paintings, you should have pictures, you should have a big Taskmaster sign and lights. You know, you probably have 2 costumes of the character because you went out as Halloween and nobody knew what you were. So
hold on.
That's a challenge.
That leads me to wonder how many Iron Man costumes Newbie's got.
Yeah. What's your room, Newbie?
Yo, don't worry about me. This isn't about me. I'm a people person. I'm about the community, man. Come on. Face, what are your thoughts on Taskmaster, man? And you know, would you still pick it up knowing that it's fallen to where it's at right now?
So I love this cover, man. It's great George Perez cover. You know, it's like just featuring a new villain at the time. And you don't really see that much in comics anymore. Like they just, you know, they'll slap a new villain on the cover and, you know, let it ride like that and hope that it sells. It was just a cool cover back in the day, especially with the green background and everything. As far as the character itself, man, yeah, they really did Taskmaster dirty in the movie. And I was trying to find a nicer way to say it, but that's basically what it is. There's been mentioned that there's rumors that they're going to redo the character, and I hope that that's true. I would like to see the, you know, more comics accurate version of Taskmaster to show up in the MCU at some point. Regardless of that, though, I would say this: the price that it's at now is kind of where it was at before. For all the movie hype anyway. Yeah. So I don't think it's going to really dip a whole lot more. Like this, again, this is kind of like, you know, the last book. It almost feels like there's kind of a price that it sits at, and that's just where it's going to be.
I have a rebuttal
gradually increase it.
But I'll let you finish.
Future, but no, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's sitting at the normal price for it, so I wouldn't be opposed to picking it up at this price.
Here's my rebuttal to that. And before I go, big shout outs to Keep It Thorough, my guy Thorough. What's happening, man? His fucking comment. Here's the thing with this one, and you know, Face, to your point, right? I think sometimes people, you know, right now there's no shows, there's no movie, right? Like there's nothing right now, right? We're just waiting on Moon Knight to happen. The only thing people have talked about is Doctor Strange and Illuminati or Moon Knight for basically 2 months, right? Like that's literally all we're doing. I feel like when something comes up like Moon Knight, right? And again, a show. So what does that mean? Oh, well, you know, we get spec week to week. I think you have a lot of those people out there that are sitting on a book like this who are like, shit, I could get maybe $200 for this. I can get $180 for this. I'm going to sell it because, you know, I have FOMO and maybe I'll get Moon Knight. And I think that's what happens with some books. So I do think that there's a little bit more of a dip because a guy or a lady who has this book, maybe doubles or something, might want to get rid of it just to get rid of it, just to get, you know, a bit of coin in it. So like in situations, I think sometimes that happens, but we'll see. I always like to look at the market when there's like a show or something like that, because I always feel like there's certain books that people are willing to just part with, just to, you know, buy that FOMO book or buy whatever the hype is that month, right? So just my 2 cents. Just my 2 cents. All right, let's get away from the green. I was gonna say the Green Goblin, but the skeleton goblin here. Let's go on to the next book. And the next book on Fallen Keys is Captain America 6, which we all went crazy for, myself included. I mean, I had a 9.4 and a 9.2. I did pretty well, but 9.8. Well, obviously, or first of all, sorry. This is the first appearance of Winter Soldier, right? The show is a success. I mean, Bucky is a cool character. It looks like he's going to have, you know, a future. He's an OG character, right? Like he's been around. So I do think that he's going to still be around at some point. 2021 9.8s were selling at $750 to $800 Canadian. That is like just before the show kicked off and went nuts. Currently, 9.8s are selling at $330 to $450, which means it's lost about $250 to $400 depending on where you buy it. That's still a massive drop if you think about it, because I mean, again, the money you would have saved just, obviously waiting and not getting FOMO, you probably would still be able to get a good book. I mean, a book in a $250 to $400 range, that's a good book. But this one, a lot of people are sleeping on this one. I like Winter Soldier. I'm a big fan. I want to go and rebuy it. So I'm not trashing the book, but at the same time, like, I'm okay if this like goes down even more. Empire, what are your thoughts?
Buy it if you find it, man. That's a huge. I didn't realize it dropped that much. That's a big drop. I don't have this one. That's what I'm saying. But I think, like you said, I think what's his name? Winter Soldier. He's not going anywhere. He's still around. He's gonna come back, whether it's in Agents of Wakanda, maybe, or of course in the new Captain America 4 movie, whatever. He's gonna come back. And you know how it is. As soon as they see photos or a trailer or something, people are gonna start looking for it again. I would pick it up, man, for real. And if you got it, hold on to it.
Hype, what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I think this is the first book in your list that I don't have. Yeah, listen, Winter Soldier. I thought Nubi was casting a spell on us or something.
No, I always give love. I always give love to Maximus. We are not worthy. We are not worthy. The Wayne's World. I'm an old man, so I sometimes do that in public, and my wife's just like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "It's Wayne's World."
I was about to toss some holy water on you or something. Yeah, listen. So the thing is, here's the thing. I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm the biggest Winter Soldier fan, but it's not like I hate the character either. I'm kind of almost in the middle ground with this character. So, which is why I never really, sought after this book. And I know that there's a variant for this one that has
Bucky's on it.
He's actually, and I know that one goes for a bit more. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that this book has gone down because, it's that case, out of sight, out of mind. And the thing is, I mean, look, if you're a fan of the Winter Soldier, probably now is the best time to pick it up. But for me, it's like, if you're looking at this character in terms of an upside, we've already seen him, kind of been played out in the MCU. I don't know what more they can really do with the character, at least in the TV and film side of things. I mean, he might have some more storylines played out in the comics, but at least on the MCU side, I'm not really sure what else they can really do with the Winter Soldier. So, again, like I said, if you're a fan, probably now's the best time to buy it. But yeah, that's really my take on it.
Face.
I mean, Winter Soldier is a great character, and like you guys said, he's not going anywhere. The price drop obviously is temporary. The next time that he comes in, whatever it might be, Black Panther 2, the next Captain America movie, somewhere else, it'll spike again, of course. So yeah, it's definitely worth picking up and adding to your collection. You can't go wrong with it. And it's another one that, it's steadily continued to climb over time. I mean, he's at this point, I mean, he's not necessarily an A-list hero, but he's probably about B or C list, I guess, at this point. B list, I would call him. So, people really like Winter Soldier. It's just going to continue to grow. It's a good one.
Here's the thing. I know there's a few people in the chat that get the variant. It's the one to get, and he's on there. I mean, Hype, I think we kind of say the same thing. It's always best just to get cover A. I don't know. I like this one better, man. I don't know why. I get he's on the cover, but like,
this is where I'd make an exception, though. This is where I would see. The thing is, if I was a big of a Winter Soldier fan, I would go after that B more than the A, just because he's on the cover.
Nah. What about for just investing purposes? That's what I'm saying. I would get the A just for that.
Well,
not if I was a
fan, though. Like what Hyper's saying is, I'm trying to think, but like I would assume that is first cover.
Yeah, that's his first cover.
That's his first appearance
as well, right?
But
so kind of get the double.
You guys don't think they will bring him back for what Brad said, maybe the Thunderbolts, or even in Captain America 4, maybe eventually, who knows, maybe he becomes Cap or something.
Oh yeah.
So
Definitely.
So here's my thing with that. The thing is, there are options for him to be kind of plugged into those rules because he was in the Thunderbolts, at one point and all that. But the thing is, he's had some major story arcs already in the MCU play out, like his introduction, his whole thing in Civil War and all that. A lot of major winter storylines have already kind of been played out in the MCU. So even if he was plugged into those teams, what I'm saying is that the ceiling, I don't like. I think we've already seen the ceiling for this character in terms of Spike.
Captain America 4 pops out tomorrow. There's a trailer. He's in it. You don't think it's gonna go up though?
It'll go up, but like I said, we've already seen that ceiling, so we already know its potential. Like I'm not like my thing is I don't think we're gonna suddenly see a new like this book hit another stratosphere all of a sudden. It's gonna be like one of those things that it'll spike, because like I said, it's out of sight, out of mind. When that trailer hits and let's say Cap 4 comes around, a lot of those Cap related keys like Winter Soldier, Falcon, and all those like Joaquin Phoenix books, those will come back up. But
here's one of the reasons why I want to reacquire this book, and it's simple. And Ryan from Automatic Comics talks about it a lot, and that's why I'm being patient in reacquiring this one, right? Is the fact that this is basically an original, an OG, and is an OG character. We kind of, he wasn't there in 2007 when Iron Man kicked it off, but like he was there throughout the process. He was a main player. He's got ties to a lot of those characters. So like he is an original person. And, when we're like 50 or 60 years old, myself, who knows if this is going to be one of those things that like, you're telling your kids or your grandkids like, oh man, you know what? I remember Winter Soldier was cool. Like, I wish I had it. I think that's going to happen with this one. I think it's probably going to be best to just buy it now. This is strictly PC, but I do want to maybe see where the price drops a little bit more because it's out of sight, out of mind. So I'm still kind of waiting, but I definitely want to get that just for those purposes down the road for sure. Let's see here. 9.8 of the variant 500. Wow, that's crazy. Winter Soldier's last solo comic was meh. Yeah. Chad, what's happening, man? Somebody sold the variant CGC 9.8 of this on my auction for under 300, I believe.
That's a bargain.
Yeah, that's a steal.
For that variant, yeah, that's a bargain.
You know what's another steal? Eternals 1. Because that's the next book on our list. This book was fucking pretty much everywhere. This one's going to be interesting for the conversation piece, simply because, well, the movie I don't think did a lot. I just read a report or a news article. Yeah, I read news articles. That the census is the more people watch this movie, the more they like it and the more that they're understanding it, which go figure, right? 3 hours of pretty much them talking about all these, just bringing everything together in the MCU, right? And some people still think it's tanked. I mean, I've watched it again. I'm not going to say I love it. I like it. But we do have the returning characters, right? Clearly at the end of it, spoiler, can't even believe I have to say this, but spoiler, right? At the end of it, it's clear that we're going to see in Eternals 2, or at least have these characters around. 2021. 9.8s were selling for $3,800. Currently, 9.8s are selling between $1,875 and $1,950 for a price drop of $1,200 to $1,800. Now, newsstands still super hot. Newsstands in a 9.8 are still selling for $3,000 Canadian. That's insane. But you could have basically saved yourself $1,200 to $1,800 if you would have waited. I get it. We all get that crazy thing, that FOMO and stuff like that. But this one, man, I know a ton of people that, when we talked about, holding on to the book longer than expected, I think a lot of people held on to this a little too long, man. What are your thoughts, Empire?
Oh man, I liked the Eternals. I'm sorry if you got Eternal fans out there. I just feel like they never, as much as Marvel tried to keep bringing them back, people just never grab a hold to them. They just never click with anybody. And then when they announced the movie, I from the beginning, I'm like, well, the comics never stuck The movie isn't. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? So I wasn't big on it. I wasn't even gonna look for it. That's a huge drop. You know what I mean? But oh, I don't know, man. If you have it, I mean, what? I guess you could hold on to it because some of them characters are coming back. But like in what aspect, and how long would they be back? I mean, how long before they come back?
I think one of the biggest factors too is a lot of people think, and I've talked to some people, and not to say I know everything about comics because I don't. I'm learning every day. But I think one of the things that hurts this book is that not all the Eternals are in this book, right? Yeah. It's just like 3 of them that are in this, like the first appearance, right? Because it is spread out between like 1, 2, 2, 4, I think it is. I can't remember exact, but like I think that's one of the things that really hurts this book once you start understanding it. So, Hype, what are your thoughts, man? Are you thinking that it's a good time to buy Eternals? Will you buy it? What are your thoughts here?
I actually have a copy. The thing is, again, I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm like the biggest Eternal fan. I think I bought this mainly because when this was announced, it was one of those things. I'm gonna admit this is one of those FOMO buys that. But the thing is, I bought it on the low. I think I bought it at a con for like $45. It was like a mid to low grade, so $45. I wasn't crying over that. So, and it is. I think Chad mentioned it is a Kirby art, so it has that going for it. I mean, look. I like Empire said, I haven't really met a lot of Eternals fans, so to speak. Maybe the movie, and here's the thing, I think that's the only MCU movie that I still have not seen, and I think that's partly because everyone's been crapping on it. It's almost like it's kind of like shielding me from, like, it's almost like I'm delaying watching it, but I know that I eventually have to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You still have not watched Eternals. That's insane to me because you can't. I don't feel like you can watch some of the other stuff without knowing. Like,
I know, but the thing
stuff, is, man,
I think that the fact of this movie getting crapped on by a lot of people that I know is almost like inhibiting me from watching it because I know it's also a long ass movie as well. So, and I have the Disney Plus subscription, so it's not like I can't watch it, but I'll probably get around to watching it at some point. But in terms of this having its upside, I guess if they're doing sequels, but again, I might do what Thuro said. I might just watch the end credits then.
I saw that too. Base, what are your thoughts, man, on Eternals?
Oh, so this book is interesting. As a lot of people in chat have pointed out, the Eternals run is kind of a tough read. I mean, it's not Kirby's best work, obviously, but it did add a lot of lore to Marvel, and it's doing the same in the MCU. You know, maybe the movie wasn't the best Marvel movie, but it did add a lot of shit to the MCU that's going to be really important down the road.
Yeah.
So that being said, I still got love for this book because it's a Kirby book, man. So, you know, it is what it is. I think most people probably would want to wait and see if there's more of a price drop, maybe. But me, as a Kirby fan, personally, I would be okay picking it up at this price.
Eternals or Captain Marvel?
But still,
Eternals or Captain Marvel? Empire. What's your
what's being what's better or what's worse?
What's better?
Wow.
Or what's worse? Sorry, no. What's worse?
Okay, I mean, movie.
The movie.
Man, I mean, I fell asleep doing Captain Marvel, but
say no more. Say no more. Hype. What's worse? Captain Marvel or Eternals? Oh, you haven't seen Eternals.
Well, but I'll at least weigh in on Captain Marvel. Look, I'm gonna go against the grain and say I'm not gonna hate on, like, again, I don't think it's the best MCU movie, but I'm not gonna hate on it as a lot of people have. It has its merits, and look, it's the only MCU movie that has a Street Fighter 2 arcade cabinet featured. So it has that going for it.
Uniac is saying,
Well,
yeah.
personally,
Face, what are your thoughts?
I don't personally hate either movie.
Yeah.
I won't go
Well,
out
which
of my
one would you not
way.
see again, right? That's
Listen,
more important. Like,
this is
which
what I'm
one
saying.
wouldn't you
Okay, I
least-
won't go out of my way to see Captain Marvel again.
Yeah.
But
Thank
if there were
Yeah.
reasons that it was on
Yeah.
or something like that, I guess I would probably watch it or something like that.
Okay.
Eternals,
says-
I would like to watch
It says
again.
a lot.
Yeah, Eternals I would watch again. You know what movie that I would not watch again? Like 100%, I wouldn't. I will never watch this. And if somebody was like, "Man, I bet you $1 million you will," I would be like, "No, you're wrong. Just give me the $1 million now." Is Venom 2, and this is
I haven't even
ridiculous.
seen it.
But Amazing Spider-Man 361, everybody should know what this is because there's a second print, and everybody's trying to sell them now. The movie sucked. I'll say it. 2021 CGC 9.8s are selling for $1,400 to $1,800 Canadian. Currently, 9.8s are selling anywhere between $600 and $700 Canadian. I do have somebody that told me that they bought one on an auction for $560, I think it was, and 9.8. So like that's pretty good. So you can get deals out there, especially because this book is pretty much everywhere, and a lot of people are trying to just kind of get rid of it. But a price drop $600 to $1,200 is insane. I sold a 9.6 for $975. I can't believe I got that, but that's how much I sold mine because I sold at the right time just before the movie was about to, be released. I think this is still going to keep going down, down, down. I remember having this one gentleman basically telling me I was stupid, I was crazy. He ended up blocking me, saying that this was going to be a $5,000 book. It's going to be up there with ASM 300, and it's not. But here we are. If you're a Carnage fan, like I know a lot of people are, I think you can still wait because I think that it's just going to keep going down, to be honest with you, and you can find them pretty much anywhere, especially raw. I personally won't buy it just because it's not, but it is a good time to buy it if you want to buy it on the flip or on the dip, rather. Empire, what are your thoughts on Carnage?
I agree 100%. I mean, I got the book because it's I'm an ASM fan, a Spider-Man fan. I try to finish my run, but what I was trying to say was I would grab it in a 9.8 for like 500 personally. If it drops a little bit more, maybe like 400 or 500, I would grab it for myself, for me. But you got to admit, before the movie came out, it was doing crazy numbers. It kept going up and up and up, and it kind of looked like it was ridiculous. But like again, like I said before, it was a Sony movie, so I wasn't stressing it because I'm like, that's gonna come down, man, once the movie drops, But if you got it, I would hold it. I mean, and hope that Marvel does something with him. You know what I mean? But if you want it, I would pick it up if it drops a little bit lower.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pay $1,000 for it right now. No, you good. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, just like Empire, I have this book as well, and again, I picked this up even before any news of, Cletus Cassidy being brought into the Sonyverse. I always dug this cover. It was a Mark Bagley cover from the 90s, and I don't know, it was always one of those iconic ASM covers that, I liked having in the PC. This is a case, though, where I feel like you're not going to find the value in this character in the movies. I think it's going to be more so in the comics because we've seen how, when Absolute Carnage was brought in, this book also had a bit of a bump. And we know for a fact that there is going to be an ongoing series featuring Carnage. It's going to be called Carnage. So it looks like there is plans for Carnage, at least in the comics. I don't know if it's going to be Cletus Cassidy who's the host or if it's going to be someone else. I haven't really looked into it, but at least, like I said, the only upside I can see in this is in the comic side, not so much on the movie side. But if you're a Carnage fan, buy it on the dip.
Newbie picked this motherfucking book because he knows I'm a Carnage fan. So
numbers don't lie, man. That's all I'm saying.
No, and the thing is, I mean, you're not wrong. I actually have a really good story about this book, though. So I got this book when I was a kid, and it had come out. Been out for a while. Carnage was the thing, and I picked it up at a shop for a really great deal. Had it in my collection for years, and I actually ended up losing it in a fire, whatever. And my current girlfriend that I, got together with when I actually at the time had just started collecting again. She found out that, it was a book that I had, character that I loved, and I lost it. She went out and picked up, a copy for me, and she actually did get a great deal on it. The funny thing was, when we got the thing, I was looking at it and it looked different than mine. So I finally started looking into it and found out that all those fucking had the second print and didn't even know that great deal that I thought I had got from the shop at the time was probably not appropriate, because I, being a young kid, didn't even realize that it was a second print.
Shoot.
So, but anyway, yeah, Carnage. I mean, I love the character, and there's a lot of potential there as far as storytelling, especially in the comics right now, and some of the directions that they're going with the symbiotes and possibly even Carnage in the future. As far as the MCU, I would hope that they do something at some point and bring them in, but I think you've got time on it, and there's probably going to be more of a price drop on it, back down to the more normal levels that you've seen Carnage sit at for the last few years. I will say I still think it's a good one when it does go back down on the dip, because I do think you'll see more out of Carnage at some point. So
yeah, I'm definitely thinking that, like UniX, big shout outs to UniX, by the way. I do think that it's a good time to buy. It's a fallen key for sure, from where it was, right? Obviously, losing $600 to $1,200, that's massive, right? But when symbiotes do come into the MCU, it'll pop, because it'll be like the number 2 book, Venom, Carnage, those 3 will pop automatically, and then you'll have the other ones, right? Like Scream, Toxin. I can't remember the other one. But it'll definitely be one. And again, I mean, if you're, like Empire said, I mean, if you're, into Spider-Man hardcore and you want that stuff, I mean, this is obviously a big one to have. So all I'm saying is it's fallen. It could fall a little bit more. So just be on the lookout.
It probably will.
Yeah.
This is a book that you could probably find at cons for a good price. Yeah, because I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them. It's a really high print run book. So
this is a book that dealers will probably have, in abundance. So you could probably catch a deal on this one.
Well, let's stick with our theme here, and obviously the show is Fallen Keys, but I think that this next book, due to the fact that the actor who was supposed to play this character just came out and basically was like, man, fuck this shit. This also made this one drop. Obviously the hype of this next book was there all last year, possibly coming, who knows, but we got the thong cover, the infamous thong cover, Uncanny X-Men 266, the second appearance of Gambit. No, it's not a second appearance. It's the first cover appearance of Gambit. I know people are just going to be like, newbie, I'm going to fight you. But, it depends on what side of the book or what angle you're sitting at here. But, the annual or this one. But, the market obviously dictates this one. Channing Tatum kind of revealed everything, all that info about like 2-3 weeks ago about how the project's done. He doesn't watch Marvel because they, fucked him over, yada, yada, yada. I mean, it doesn't look like Gambit's going to show up, which sucks. But never say never, right? If Justin Bieber taught anybody anything, it's, never say never. 2021 9.8s were selling between $1,800 and $2,000 Canadian. Currently, a 9.8 is selling for $1,100 to $1,400. Again, depending on the, the seller and where you get it. Price drop of $300 to $650 Canadian. It's a pretty big drop. I had a 9.6. I kind of sold it on the hype when Rogue was kind of being hyped up, because you can't have. I don't think you can have Rogue without having Gambit, especially moving forward, right? So I kind of just sold mine. I think my 9.6 went for like 800 Canadian. So I was kind of happy, but What are your thoughts, man? Is it a book that you would still buy, or are you kind of waiting for this thing to just keep going down because it doesn't seem like Gambit's coming?
Well, he might not be coming in the MCU anytime soon, but I think he does have a mini series or something coming up in like 2-3 months, doesn't he?
Not
Written
sure.
by, I
I
think
don't
he
know
does. Like, yeah, he has a new mini series coming up, and I always feel like when Marvel starts doing something with the comics, it's for a reason, and out of nowhere they're giving him a mini series or series. So
It's true.
if you have it, I would hold it, and if you could find it for under a rack, I would grab it, man, because I think they're doing. He's a great character in my opinion. Like, people love him, especially if you grew up and watched him in the '90s series, the cartoon, the animated series. People love him, so
It could
I would
spike
hold it.
again because of that show too, right? When the show comes, I mean,
Yeah.
that it could spike too, right? So yeah.
Yeah, listen, I don't have this book. This is one of those books that's kind of like in the background radar. Not so much that I'm a mega Gambit fan, but I have been trying to collect first appearance of the more prominent mutants in the X-Men universe. So I'm missing this book. I've been hesitant on pulling the trigger on this book several times just because I've seen where the prices have been, and I just know this is one of those books that I should be able to catch a deal. Again, this is probably something that I would probably buy raw, then graded.
Yeah.
I would just take a gamble on this one because I've seen raws before going for like in the hundreds, in like $100 range or so. And if you have a good eye for it, you might be able to catch a VF near mint, grade in that price. So this is one of those things that I'm looking out for. I mean, not anytime soon with the recent purchases I've made. This is probably going to be more like in the distant future. So, and I know UniX made a joke about this, but look, I know this book has some controversy in terms of first appearance. If I was a fan, I would hedge my bets and honestly grab both the annual and this.
Yep, I agree with that. But I'm with Maximus. I'm with Ultra, man. Let's make it a $200 book again, so I can go get it again. I'm not paying $1,000 for this book. I'm sorry. Face, what are your thoughts on Mr. Gambit, aka the Thong Man?
Yeah, I mean, I lean towards the X-Men annual as first appearance personally, but market says otherwise. So I would want to pair it, if possible. But yeah, Gambit's a great character. And he's going to show up in X-Men 97 for sure. How big of a part he'll play in it, who knows? So yeah, there will be some fans that probably do go out and grab a copy then. So you'll see some spikes around that time. And then as far as the MCU, when we finally do get the X-Men and everything, it's only a matter of time before they do bring in, the MCU version of Gambit. Yeah. So he's definitely coming. It's probably a ways off in the future. You've got a while. So, if you want to wait a while and see some more dips after the little spikes that the animated series gets, it probably wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
No. All right, we go from the thong cover to basically Black Knight, I guess. Yeah, I wrote it down wrong on my little notepad here. So we got Avengers 48.
Good notes.
Yeah, Mr. Dana Whitman becoming the Black Knight.
Did you call him Dana Whitman? What is he? Is he the president of the UFC?
Dane. Sorry, not Dana.
Yo, he's trying to turn him into the fucking UFC
guy. Me personally, guys, and you guys can go back to the show, right? When we were talking about Eternals, I had said I don't think if you're expecting Black Knight to show up in the armor with the horse or whatever the case may be, I don't think it's going to happen in Eternals. He signed a 4-year or a 4-project deal or whatever. They got the name. He is a big time dude, right? I didn't really think that they were going to have him as Black Knight in the movie. Now, obviously, at the end, we have we have him with the sword and blade and all that stuff. So, I mean, it's coming. I think that this one, I mean, I have one. I have a 7.0, and that's why, that's where I get my stats from, because the 7.0 last year was selling for $1,800 and $1,900 Canadian, where it currently is, it's $1,000 to $1,200 book, right? So, I mean, it's obviously dropped, but again, out of sight, out of mind, and we didn't really see him as Black Knight in Eternals. We only saw the sword at the end. When he does show up for the next time, obviously, we're probably going to see him, with the knight stuff or a horse or a sword, whatever the case may be, he's going to be in it and it's going to spike. So I do think that this book has a lot of legs, but nevertheless, this book across the board is dropping like crazy, me personally, I'm holding on to mine because I do think that it's still going to be, it's probably going to get back to those prices, me personally, because I do think that this character is going to be around for a while. Empire, what do you think, man? You buying it? You just staying away from it? What are your thoughts?
Nah, man. If you could find it for 1,000, buy it. I mean, I don't get to like the guys know I said it yesterday. I don't get to hunt around me, so like I don't get to go out there and be able to find anything like this. But if I could find it for $1,000, I would definitely scoop it up because he's coming back. We didn't see him do anything in Eternals. All he did was at the very end touch the blade. You know what I mean? So when we see him in costume. I don't really know much about him in the comics because in the 90s I was kind of collecting Spider-Man and X-Men. So, but when he comes in, it's gonna take off, man. Grab it right now while it's low.
Yeah, listen, I'm kind of with Newbie in a sense that I do see an upside to this character because Kit Harington is lined up for several projects, and if Kit Harington, if you've seen Game of Thrones, we've seen that, he is a good actor, so he could do this character justice. But
I just read that comment. Sorry, man.
Yeah, no worries. But the thing is, in terms of a book that I would want, there's other characters that I kind of put ahead of Black Knight. So it's not like this is not exactly a book that I'm actively looking in my PC. Again, if by chance I find a really good deal, maybe. But I mean, I have been collecting some of his more modern stuff. Like I do have his 90s 4-issue run, and recently the one that was done where they introduced his daughter. So I have some of that stuff. But yeah, he does have an upside. And look, if Dana White, is able to have the mantle, he's able to hold down the UFC and be the Black Knight, then yeah, kudos to him.
Well, I don't know if he's got that kind of talent, but hey, more power to him if he does, I guess. Black Knight, yeah, I mean, he's a weird character because he's not been huge in the comics as far as, the storylines and everything like that. But it does seem like they're putting a lot into him as far as the MCU. I mean, they've got a, pretty popular actor playing him and everything. Locked him down for, four roles or whatever. I wouldn't be surprised to see him show up in the Blade project actually that's coming up. So, just because they did the little tie-in there, but he's gonna show up. People love the actor, so there will definitely be spikes on the book whenever he does. How big of a role he ends up playing ultimately in the MCU, who knows? So, but yeah, if you're looking for it for investment purposes, probably not a bad time to pick it up.
I think this one, the next book that's on the list too, which I'll obviously get to in a little bit, spiked really quick, and then once the news or whatever, like our hobby does, we just next, what's next, and we don't show it any love because we're so on to the next thing, right? And it's sad because I do think this book is going to pick up, and that's why I'm holding it. I mean, it's Kit Harington. He signed on to 3 more projects, possibly 4. Eternals are still going to be around. He's still got to go find, I forget what the chick's name is that he is in love with and gets taken from that, Celestial and all that. So like, I think there's a big upside to this book, and the prices have gone down. You can get raws for really cheap, and people underestimate when this book was at the height and people wanted it and it was selling like crazy. Even like a 1.0, 2.0 was fetching like fucking top dollar, and even that, like, you can get it really cheap now. So I wouldn't sleep on this because there's still some things to be made here.
Well, I was looking at what AOA said, but I think the only thing I remember him ever doing in the comics that I remember was, didn't he kill the Supreme Intelligence for the Kree in that Galactic Storm crossover story arc? I think that's what he did. He's the one who did it.
They don't have to follow the comics though. They could just
but I'm saying he can always do something you know, it's not just he was with the Avengers. You know, what I'm saying he was all out there doing cosmic stuff with them as well. So you know,
all right.
I'm just more interested in
the new run that they did with them though wasn't bad, and it's definitely starting to build some of the lore surrounding Black Knight a little, starting to flesh it out a little better. And there was actually some interesting developments with the new character from that series too. So if you're following UniX, he posted about it not too long ago. So
yep, he did. Big shout out to UniX, by the way. He's always posting like free information, great information, and you know, I feel like people need to pay attention. Side note, I'm just gonna let everybody know here right now. Man, I can't believe well, I don't know. Like I didn't really care. I've never watched one episode or 1 minute of Game of Thrones.
Have you seen UFC?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I have seen UFC, but I've never watched Game of Thrones, man. It just I wasn't really into it. The way people were describing it, so I was like, nah, all right, pass.
Don't feel bad. I couldn't get past the first episode, man.
Yeah.
Damn.
So
well, okay, I'll say this much. Yeah, the first episode, it is a lot of narrative, but it's one of those shows that I think you kind of have to not soldier on, but it gets better. Because
That's what I hear, dude.
Except the last season, though. The finale was a complete shit show.
I tried. I watched the first episode like 3 times, and I made it halfway through the second. I'm just like, I can't do it.
Fair, man. I swear, Thorough, I don't know anything about the show, man. I don't know anything about it. My mom watched it, and she was always trying to explain it to me, and I was like,
I thought your mom watches Aquaman.
I don't watch it.
That's what
my mom watches. Yeah, all that stuff. Listen, we went from thong to now full speedo. Now you're talking about Aquaman, but we got Thor 165, the first appearance of Adam Warlock. You know, if you want to say FF 67, okay, cool. If you want to say, what's the other one? Marvel Premiere 1. I mean, cool. Don't bring in the Fantastic Four 66. I'm a Fantastic Four fan, and I wouldn't even say that. But this is probably the book. I think this one's going to be the winner. Confirmed character, casted, coming soon. We haven't seen anything but the fact that the casting is happening, right? This book, I put 2021, but 2021, a 6.0 was selling for $1,300 to $1,500 Canadian. Currently, a 6.0 sells for $650 to $725. So it's not. You know, it's not at the height that it was, but again, we got the casting. That was it. We haven't seen pictures. We haven't done anything. Price drop of $375 to $500. This one, I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. I think this is one to pick up. I think Adam Warlock is gonna be massive. I got one at CGC. If I can find myself another copy for that low of a price, I will jump at that because this book I think is gonna be massive when he shows up. It's not going to be a one and done. He's got big plans in the MCU. So I think this one's one to watch out. I think this one, people might think and fall into that, I'll buy it later. No, this is the time. Nobody's talking about it. So this is the time.
Yeah, I agree 100%, man. That's not, you said it all. Like, I would grab it now. He's coming. I don't even think he wasn't in the trailer or nothing. It was just a news article with him dressed as Warlock. Not even dressed, just announced.
Yeah, not even dressed, just announced. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would definitely pick this up. Grab this. Have you got it? Hold it. When he comes in, and this is the one, like you said, this is the one definitely I would have. I would grab this one if I could.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much gonna copy paste what you guys are saying. It's a grab, and this character has an upside. Now, me personally, again, I've mentioned this several times. I kind of collect more characters that I kind of personally am into, and I'm not down too much with the cosmic side of Marvel as much as the street level. So, as an investment, I'm sure this is a great book, but just in the PC, it's not again one of those books on my front of the list that I'm looking at.
Ultra, I'm actually surprised. Ultra thinks that he could be one and done. He says, I don't think the one and done thing is out, newbie. He could be one and done in the movie. And I know UniX is one of his favorite characters. He like loves the cosmic stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, it could happen, right? It could be one and done. I don't know. I think he could have a bit more.
Man, they did say we're gonna get like a new whole Guardians team.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think he could be a part of it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Face? Are you picking this up? Do you want to pick it up? Do you think it's a smart move to be picking it up, or is this still going to be dropping?
As far as being one and done, I think there's potential either way. I mean, obviously James Gunn has said that this is the last that he's doing with this iteration, at least of the Guardians. So maybe he's just done with the Guardians and he's focusing on the stuff that he's doing over there at DC now. It's been confirmed he's doing more Peacemaker stuff and some spinoffs possibly and everything else. So, there is the potential that he could be one and done. But again, a character like Adam Warlock, just because James Gunn might be done with him doesn't mean the next person that comes in and into the cosmic part of the Marvel universe isn't gonna use the same character. I mean, they did get, the kid's he's not like a huge actor, but he's kind of built up a little bit of name. They could have went completely no name if it was one and done. And, James Gunn's been willing to do that type of stuff before. So, I could see it going either way. That being said, though, if I'm actually shocked that this is on a price dip right now because, the news about the casting wasn't all that long ago. And there's still been, constant trickle of news about the movie and everything like that coming out as far as how far along in production they are and everything. So I'm kind of surprised to see that this is on a dip. But yeah, if it's on a dip, it's definitely worth picking up because, as soon as the movie comes out, it's going to spike regardless of the one and done thing. If you're picking it up for an investment purpose, that's perfect. If you're picking it up for PC and it's on a dip, yeah, great time to get it because, obviously you won't find it at a lower time.
Yeah, I just think, like UniX is saying, I think he's just too big of a character with like connections to a lot of things. And I don't think that they would bring him in, one and done. I mean, people think Arthur Harrow is, they turned that book from a $2 book to a $120 book. And people seem to think that guy's going to be fucking everywhere. I don't know how, but again, it could happen, right? That's the thing. That's the speculation. That's the what if. That is the, fun part of our hobby and stuff like that is do you think this will happen? What if? I mean, I just hope he's around. I think he's kind of badass. So hopefully they keep him around. But I think this book definitely has a high ceiling. Once we see like photos or something or a trailer, I think this is gonna explode, man. So
I think he'll probably end up leaving it sort of whatever they do with him. I think you'll end up seeing it sort of be left kind of open ended, right now. So they'll have the potential to do more with him in the future, but they won't necessarily be, locked into having to use him.
Yeah. Annihilus as well. Get them Cosmic Care. Yeah, man. Fuck. That book has gone up. I remember very Gary. I bought my 5.5 for like $165 Canadian. 5.5 already graded. So to see that thing at like I think $500 at that price, I'm like, holy smokes. But I'm a Fantastic Four fan, so that's just PC anyway. All right. Down to our final book here on Fallen Keys, and a book probably you should be on the lookout for. But again, this one's a little tricky. OG character. But let's take a look at book number 10. Book number 10, and we talked about this book with Ryan from Automatic Comics. You guys know he is a numbers guy. He put it on the keys to still invest in. But it's also a key that's falling in price. So we got Tales of Suspense. No, we're not talking 39. We're talking 52. First appearance of Black Widow, OG character. She's got her own movie. She's dead. So I don't know where they go. But again, I always take back what Ryan said about FF52, right? It's just going to be one of those iconic characters. You definitely want to have it. I mean, this one is cool. You got Iron Man on the cover too, so you can't go wrong. Currently, or in 2021, a 5.0 was selling for $28.75 to $3,000 Canadian, where now at the same grade, you're looking at $13.75 to $1,500. Price drop of $700 to $1,000. That's pretty big when you think about it, because you could have got this plus another key plus like another book on this list, basically. What are your thoughts? Me personally, guys, I would buy it. I still think that it might go down a little bit, just simply with all these new characters and the fact that she's dead. So, like, I don't know if she's gonna come back. So that's the only thing. I do think that it could fall a bit more, maybe get a good trade happening. But I would like to see this one in my PC for sure. Empire, what are your thoughts?
Like you said, she's dead. I don't think she's coming. She's done with the MCU. The only thing would be like fans of hers or any spec with like in the comics. You know what I mean? If something happens with the comics that people want to go back and get her first appearance, it'd be a cool book to have in your PC for sure. But I would wait before I buy it, because she's, like you said, she's dead. It's not gonna go up anymore. I don't think it is.
I don't know. Okay, so the thing is, this is the same thing like what my argument was with the whole Carnage situation. Like, despite how Black Widow, Natasha's character, was played out in the MCU, she's always going to be around in the comics regardless, just like Carnage. So, and the thing is, just because this is a Silver Age first appearance, it's a character that, like, yeah, I know that this book did get a bit of a dip because of, there's no future in the MCU. But again, I don't think this is a book that'll ever crash either. Just because as years goes by, I feel that this book will have its intrinsic value just because, again, it's a Silver Age first appearance of an OG character that has been a part of the Avengers, the Thunderbolts, and she continuously has her own miniseries throughout, comics. So she's always going to be around. And this is one of those books that's just cool to have in your PC. Not so much, I would say, as like, this is one of those, I guess you could call it a blue chip key in a sense that I don't see this as a spike, but at the same time, I could see this book, like, if you hold it in your PC, maybe it'll gain some value in 5-10 years, that kind of deal. So in that sense, it's still just a cool book regardless.
This one's really interesting to have on the list because it's such a tough book to judge, because the thing is, obviously Black Widow, as far as Natasha Romanoff, is probably I mean, it's comics, so you never know, but she's dead in the MCU. Regardless of that, though, the thing with this book is, for years it was a really undervalued book. Black Widow was a character that was always kind of taken for granted, and the prices kind of reflect that. So usually with a lot of the books that were on this list, I think every book after the Shriek book, they're all pretty solid characters that have some longevity in the Marvel universe and everything like that. They're fan favorites or whatever. So you can look back over the last few years and kind of see like a baseline price of where they've been, because like whenever COVID started happening, obviously prices started getting really insane. But you look before that, over years, they were pretty consistent, and you can kind of judge where these books sat at for several years and get a feel for how much they slowly gain over time and where they should sit at. And you're kind of seeing the drops kind of bring those books down to the more normal levels. And this one, though, it didn't really have that normal level because it was undervalued. So it's hard to say where this one will fall to and sit at. So judging what time would be a good one to pick this up, who knows? But that being said, again, she's not probably coming back to the MCU. So you could probably wait it out and see if it drops more.
Tony Stark is dead. Too soon, by the way. Too soon. Some of us are still healing. Some of us are still healing. Okay.
It's been 3 years.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of the books are too big to lose a whole lot of value from the movies. Yeah.
But hold on. If you can't compare Black Widow to Iron Man. That's like
No, but I think his point was that, like, there's certain characters, especially when their first appearance goes all the way back to the Silver Age.
Yeah,
they're not going to bottom out.
No,
to some like these modern books. Like,
yeah, this isn't going to be $100 book.
Exactly. Like the floor for this is not going to be as low as people might fear.
But I mean, if the high right now in this grade is going for 1,500, I mean, who's to say that if we don't get any Black Widow news, she's not in flashbacks or anything like that. I mean, it's not crazy enough to see this book in the same grade. Obviously, it's a 5.0 grade, but like, you know, maybe for 1,200, maybe for 1,300, you know, who knows? Obviously, the higher grades are still gonna, you know, demand a certain price. But yeah, this is not gonna floor.
Hold up, wait. Let's go back to let's go back to the Black Widow versus Iron Man fight, because I want to see how Newbie thinks this fight plays out.
Iron Man would win. What do you mean?
How does Iron Man win that fight? Tell me that.
Because he's in an iron suit and she's got a gun. Like, how does that even work?
So Tony Stark, who is going to be super concerned with PR, is just going to go in and beat the shit out of this little woman before she hits his ass with like an EMP or something, because she'll fight dirty.
I'm pretty sure if they were to fight, Iron Man would win 100%.
I'm taking Black Widow all day. She cheats.
Of course you would. You just fucking don't show Iron Man any respect. Newbie's still in mourning from the passing. Yeah, absolutely. AOA.
Yeah,
ASM 86 is a dope cover. I remember talking about that cover and people were shocked to know that that was like a thing, which I was shocked that people didn't know that that was like an origin and a cool cover. So yeah, I try to pick that one up when I see it. It's still fairly cheap in some places. Newbie will have Tom Cruise soon. No, I won't. This isn't going to be a superior Iron Man and crash overnight. Who is Iron Man? Oh boy. Newbie's in little right now. He's coming back when Iron Man AI or superior Iron Man. Yeah. That's the thing, man. I'm hoping for infamous Iron Man, you know, AI, Iron Man AI. That's who I'm really hoping for. So
we got CGI Luke Skywalker, so.
Oh fuck. Yeah. Guys, so that was it. That was Fallen Keys, 10 books to, you know, I think have fallen in price, but still some that, you know, should, you know, be looked after. People should be looking at these prices, especially if you want them. Some people, you know, when I was talking about some of these books prior in different conversations, I've had people say, you know, like, oh, I didn't know that book was dropping. Like, yeah. If you're looking for a certain book, why wouldn't you know what the market is, you know, demanding for it, right? That, like, if I'm interested in a book, I'm always following what's going on. So something to be on the lookout for. Gentlemen, I want to thank you guys for hopping on and talking comics. The chat, we got up to 78, 80, I think it was. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on this new comic book day eve, aka Tuesday. I hope everyone has a good new comic book day. Just dropped a video about a Grail 2 days ago or 3 days ago. I can't remember. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I knew Hyper was showing off some Grails, so I had to do a video about a Grail I got. Hyper,
take the heat.
Really quickly, you want to show them off? You want to do something?
Yeah, fine.
You got him there, man. You got him there. Show him off.
He says, yeah, fine. Like he didn't want to do it. I'm like, don't you?
I promise I'm not gonna go into like a long-winded speech like yesterday.
Yeah, I'll be like the Oscars, man. I'll just cut you out. I'll just start playing music and, you know.
And listen, considering the magnitude of the books that I got, I couldn't just be one and done. So yeah, I grabbed these two.
Ooh, man, facsimiles that low? Jesus, dude.
And like I said, this 3.0, I've seen 4.0s look worse than this 3.0. And like the only reason they got a 3.0 is because there's a detached staple. There's a bit of water damage at the bottom. But honestly,
dude, you got no controversy now. You own both of them. Mm-hmm. This is one of your favorite characters. You own both of it. You technically own a part of comic history. What do I mean by that? When you start talking about comic, you know, controversies, this book always comes to mind. You have both of them. It's comic history, man. So welcome to the club, my friend.
Well, because the thing is, like I said, I'm a Wolverine fan, and
every
like
comic history got
181 was 181.
Ludocrats 1. That's not comic history.
Speaking of which, we found those in the dollar bins on the weekend. But listen, I was always on the radar for 181, and I figured, look, 180s it's a lot cheaper than 181, and I know that once 181 is going to be out of reach, that's going to be the next book people are going to gravitate towards. So I figure hedge your bets, and I'm a Wolverine fan anyway, so I was going to grab both regardless. So might as well buy them when, you know, if the rumors I hear that if Jackman or whoever might appear. I don't know if that plays out. Who knows what this book will do? So I figure I'll buy it now before it takes off.
You got to. Well, that's dope, man. I'm not going to spoil what grail I got, but definitely go pick it up. Also, yeah, like I said, Hype, welcome to the Hulk 181 Club. You can basically say whatever you want now when it comes to Wolverine because you have both books. So you can, you can always just be like, when people say, oh, Hype, you're just saying that because you have 181. You'd be like, I have 182.
But that's why my thing, going back to the whole Gambit thing, like if you guys are Gambit fans, both, but like that annual is pretty cheap. So just if you're gonna die on the hill of annual, get both. I would say if you can afford it.
Yeah, and if you want a thong, cover, then get 266. That's just what it is. All right, guys. Really quickly, I'm just gonna throw it over to Empire. Empire, let the people know where they can find you. And
you can find me at Empire_Comics on YouTube, Instagram, whatnot. I got a Whatnot show tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I'm just doing like an indie variant show. So if you're on Whatnot, follow me there. This week on YouTube, I have like 2 or 3 videos I'm finally gonna upload. It's been like a week. I haven't been able to edit anything. I've been real busy. But I'll put some videos up this week. So if you're on YouTube, or you're obviously on YouTube, but follow me and you can check them out. And other than that, I'll be watching you guys and watching anybody else and still speccing.
Dope. Hype, I think you're going to be talking for, your crew here, but let the people know where they can find you, Face, Keys, Comic Dude, and Mr. BC.
Yeah, so last Saturday, the Kingpins did a new show called Royally Fucked, which is a play on the word FOC. So that's going to be every Saturday at noon. So there will be some FOC knowledge dropped. So yeah, tune in for that. And as always, we do our live show on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know if Face wanted to add anything to that, but that's it for what the Kingpins have going on.
That's all I got.
Perfect. All right, well, you guys know the deal. Have fun on Tuesday. Remember, don't steal and take all the stacks. Leave some for the people that didn't pre-order and are jealous because you don't want to have people hating, right? That's the show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Hope to see everybody on Sunday. Newbieverse episode 82, New Comic Book Day, Comic News, and Comic Spec. Any last words, guys?
If you spent your money on Hulk 181s and you're too broke to buy comics, visit your local library.
All right, we're out. Take care.
Later.